Altair Visualization with various examples and how to plot various charts in Altair. So today's tutorial is based on that. So we'll go on with the opening on Jupyter new Python notebook, and I've named this as Altair dataset weather dataset we are working with. So we start with importing, import Altair as ALT so that I don't have to write Altair again and again. That's why I'm writing here as Altair as ALT. And then since it works with the vega dataset, and from vega dataset I have to import what data, right? Hit shift enter, and now I want to show you two things. There are two dataset of weather here. So if you will simply create an object called weather, and then you will tell it that from weather just get this weather data, and we just see the head of this data. So this first 5 entries, you can see that this dataset has been loaded in pandas format. I mean in form of rows and columns. But this data set we are not working with. We are working with a different data set, and that is like I create another object new, and we are working with data.Seattle weather. All right, so we are working with Seattle weather data set. Again, this is how I invoke this, and this is how I will call this, and this is how my data would be loaded. Let's see the first 5 entries. So as you can see here, we've got like certain 6 columns and certain rows. So let's check out how many rows and columns we have by simply writing dot shape, and we see that we've got over 1400 rows and 6 columns: date, precipitation, maximum temperature, minimum temperature, wind, and weather. Now if you want to check the data types, the null type, the null values, you can simply use a very simple method, and that is new.info. This will tell you that there are no null values in each of these columns, and also the data type. So this date is in data time format, which is in the numpy format, which is good, and rest is in floating value except weather, which is an object. Okay. All right, now so we move on to plotting simple charts, right, in Altair. So I will show you a few charts here. Simple charts. Let's start with a simple chart. So how do we plot it? We simply write alt.chart, and then you go to your data frame, and I will now start my grammar definition, defining the syntax and everything, and I will tell it that I want mark as tick, and then I want you to encode my x and y, and on x-axis I would simply give precipitation. Just be careful with the spellings because okay, so this is how I get the tick mark, and I get the range of precipitation that is from 0 to somewhere around more than 55. Simply you can also experiment this with mark with maximum temperature. Like instead of x is precipitation, I can simply copy this and paste it here, and instead of x-axis as precipitation, I can simply write here temp. Oh god, I just hit shift enter. Okay, temp and max. So I will get this. So my temperature, maximum temperature is somewhere from below to 0 to highest to right more than 35, right? Okay, simply you can experiment with different this thing. And now instead of tick, I can simply experiment this with circle. So instead of tick, I can get the circle, right? Instead of circle, I can also use here point. So you can get the points here. Okay, you can experiment with different mark, whichever marking you want from your data. Now this thing I would show you is another chart which we prepare is alt.chart. Again, go to the new data frame, and then I will tell it mark, what mark I want. So suppose I take point here, and now I'll give the encoding. So encoding on x-axis, what do I want? I want the date time. So I will take year, month, and date. This is a format which it understands that you want it in a date time format. I can give it a format called T. Okay. And then on y-axis, what I give is, suppose I give precipitation again, because I'm concerned about the rainfall. So I give here precipitation, and now I give here something called third dimension, that is the hue in Plotly, but in Altair it is simply color. And here I will use the weather, which is an object. So by default it will take it and assign, let's see what color it assigns. So by default it has assigned it a few colors, and you can see that we have not done anything with assigning of colors, or any encoding we have not given, like numbers or Q or O, ordinal or anything. It has taken it by default. That's why it is called declarative. Okay. Visualization. Now on the y-axis I got precipitation, and on the x-axis I got date and month. So you can see that from 2012 January till January 2015 and beyond, the data has been plotted, and we can map that what precipitation we got in which month, and it was in which format, like what format, like was it rain, was it snow, was it drizzle. And we find very less data for drizzle, but more for rain and fog. Of course, sunlight is here, as you can see at the bottom. So this is how you can infer things from this, right? Okay, fog is the maximum here. So let's explore further and plot more graphs. I want to show you something cool here. So let's just plot again, write this chart and new, and just keep practicing, because it will make you good with this. Okay, and the grammar, I mean, when you keep practicing, you will be good with this grammar. I sometimes feel that I'm playing guitar, because you have to do so many tasks while typing these codes and talking, and so much of things you need to do. So my guitar has really helped me in all these things. Okay guys, jokes apart. So in this row I will just take weather, and then I will just close this, and let's see it works. I hope it works. Yes. Okay, so in row I have got, see, what I defined was, I just wanted to know the temperature, the maximum temperature. What is the maximum temperature given I have got sunshine, snow, rain, fog, or drizzle? So this is how I can show the range of maximum temperature given various weather conditions. Okay, so this is how I can show it. And another experiment, if I want to tell you, is that instead of row I can give column. Okay, so this is just gone. So I can just here write column, and column is equals to, if I write here again, weather, and let's just see. Okay, so again, in the form of a column, you're getting this thing. And if you want to change this type of marking, instead of tick, you can simply use point. All right, point, I think this is, I have to write it again. So I'll just write here point and dot encode, right? So this is what you get in the form of, instead of tick, you are getting points, right? So this was making more sense of your visualizations, and you can plot it in row or column. Now I will walk you through something called line charts, right? Okay, so we'll walk on to line charts. So what I do is, again, I will write here all the chart and new dot. What do I want now? I want the encoding mark as line. I give that mark, I want line, and then the encoding I will give as, for X, I want, again, the format is month, date, this is how you give that, and I want T, that is, it will be encoded in the form of date time. And then Y would be what? Now I want average. So I will write here RAGE, average. And here I will take precipitation. Okay. So I think everything is done, and now we can plot this. So you can see this. I'm getting the average of precipitation in spread across various months. Okay, and you can see that March I'm getting the average precipitation is high here, and here in November and December, as you can see, there's average precipitation is really high. Okay, more than 5.2, something like that. So this was about line chart. Now another way of plotting is, let's come to bar. So I'll just quickly show you bar charts. So let's just do this bar charts. Again, I can just simply write, I'll just copy this, okay? Some people might be saying, thank God. Alright, so ALT chart, and now I would like right here mark bar, encode X. Now in X, what I will take here, I will not take this, but instead of this, I will write here, I want mean of what? Mean of, let's play with temperature range, right? I'm taking temperature range here. Remember, this is not being given in any of the columns. Temperature range means minimum temperature, maximum temperature minus minimum temperature. And why I am taking as year. So this is one of my column, okay, year, and date, date, date. And this is ordinal data. Now what I'll do is, I will use here dot transform function, and I will use calculate. So this calculate function actually will calculate my this thing, temperature range, okay? So I'll use this calculate, and calculate what? Calculate the temperature range, and I'll give the formula, and the formula follows like datum dot temperature maximum minus, okay, just to make it a little good, I'll write here datum, and actually this is not here, this is a complete this thing, so it will come in one string, dot temp, and here would be minimum. And you can just close this, and I hope this is okay. And I have enclosed this, close this, calculate, yes, okay, let me run this. So you get this mean of average temperature, temperature range, and the date. That means in different years, what is the range of temperature. So you can see in 2015, this was the highest range. I think the effect of global warming maybe. Okay, so subsequently, you can see this has been increasing, on the rise, right? So I'm not here to comment anything about global warming, guys. I am just here to, okay, visualize the data. So again, now let us, a simple bar chart if you want, we can simply write here Altair chart, go to my data frame, new, and I want the encoding as bar, and what you do is you encode. What do you encode? Encode X and Y, and in X and Y, I will simply give X is equals to, suppose I will give here month, date, and this encoding, as you've now been familiar with, encode it as, suppose, number, not T, okay, because I'll show you the difference, right? And in Y, I will just simply take count, okay, count the what. I will first let's visualize and then understand. Okay, let me just draw this for you. Invalid syntax, Y. Okay, I forgot a comma here. All right. So now can you see this? I am getting on x-axis the date and month plotted, and here is the count of records. Count of records of what? Count of records of various weathers. Weather like drizzle, you can see the drizzling plot of it. It is not like it's higher than 120. It's just a stacked bar which you are getting. And we've got most of the data, the count of sun, mostly sunshine weather. So we are getting the count of this in January. It's like more than 30 or so. And snowfall is like 10, maybe 5 minutes or something. And then rainfall, you can see the count is lying between like, it's not 40, but I would, since it's stacked one above the other, so you can just calculate it that the rain and the sunshine somewhat, the records are almost similar. But fog is again overpowering or outnumbering rain and sun. So I can see the count of fog is greater as compared to all the other weather conditions. So this is how you will interpret this stacked bar chart. Another thing which is actually I am going to show you is something called interactive charts in Altair. And for this, not gonna write it, but I'm gonna copy paste it from here, or I can show you and explain this thing here. Before I explain this code, let me walk you through the visualization part of it. And you can see the visuals. And this is interactive because when I interact with this, I select this, I can also see a few things here in the histogram here. So when suppose like I hit this, okay, can you see the records changing from February to March? If I want the records, how many weather conditions records are there? So I see the sun in yellow, which is having more than 26 records. Snow, I can see very few records. Rain is higher here, and then fog and drizzle. So you can see that this color encoding is different for these different colors, and it has not been taken by default. So I have set these colors, okay? Colors have been set, scale has been set, the selection, the brushes has been set, this panel on click, everything has been changed, right? So if I simply want sun, it will show me the sun records on from May to suppose mid of June. Okay, if I click here for fog, it will show me the fog, this thing. Now if I select a wider range, I want snow, suppose now I want rain, for that it will show me rain. Snow is not here. Suppose I click here and I go for snow, it will show me the snow data here. Okay, so now let's understand the code now, since you understood that. Okay, so let's get back the entire plot. So what I'm doing here is I am simply setting a scale, and the scale is the entire weather conditions: sun, fog, drizzle, rain, and snow. All right, and I'll use the scale in color so that it can just plot it. Next I'm doing is I'm setting the color. In this color only I'm setting the scale, and this range is the different colors I'm setting. So I got it from Altair documentation. Don't worry, I'll provide the link so that you can also go ahead and see that and copy the code also. So here when you get this, the sun is, we are getting the sun in yellow, rainfall in blue, fog in somewhere gray, snow in purple, and so on. Okay, so these are the color setting which has been set here. Now what they have done is they have created two selection, brush and click. So brush we were using for the top panel. That means this is how it has been defined at alt.selection interval. So we are selecting it as interval, and encoding is equals to x, that is we'll define it. All right, and then for click we are having selection as multi and encoding is color. Okay, so whatever click we are doing in the color, and in color we are setting what, the weathers, right? So now setting the top panel in the scatter plot, and we'll take temperature and time. So in on x-axis we have got the date time again, and title is date. Y-axis we are setting the maximum temperature. Set the title, set the scale, and then we are taking it as point. And then color is what, the brush color, and we are taking light gray. So this brush is this light gray, and we have taken color as here. Okay, right. So now we have set the properties, that is the height and width of this, and we have also set the add selection, brush, and transform filter through click. Bottom panel is a bar chart of weather types. What you do is you set a bar chart. On x-axis you've got count, on y-axis you've got weather. Y-axis weather, x-axis count, and then what have we done? We have used color as alt.condition click. Okay, when you click it, you're setting the color and you're giving the value as light gray. Okay, and we have seen how it works, so that's what we are setting it, all things here. Transform filter, brush, again define the properties, add selection, what, click. Okay, on click you will get the values of whatever selection you've been doing, and then I will concatenate this as a vertical concat so that it just comes below this, and we are concatenating what, the two objects we made, that is the points here and the bars. So we are getting here points, bars, and from the data is new, and the title is Seattle weather from 2012 to 2015, and that is what we are getting as an interactive chart wherever I just hit the selection, the brush in light gray, it just tells me the records, and you can see the record rising. You can see how it is interacting. These graphs are interacting, and that's why we call them as interactive charts. Okay, so this was about the Seattle weather and various charts we have plotted. This code is available. I will provide you the code, the link where you can find all this information. So this was it for this video, guys. I hope this was informative, and please let me know what else you want in data visualization, whether in Plotly or in another library. So stay tuned for next videos, and thanks for watching.